Hey guys, Dan here with Merlin, sometimes known as Joe.
Hello.
On occasion. But we're going to be talking about Frasier. We've got season 8 here. This is part 2 now. We're going to be talking about the second half of season 8 of Frasier.
Which, if you watched the last episode, apparently
Spoilers.
Dan haters.
I didn't care nearly as much.
I have to refresh my memory because usually it's like a good couple weeks before we watch these and I'm marathoning them. So sometimes they blur together until you remind me.
Right.
I'm glad you do. And then the ones that I really like seem to stick out the most.
Yeah.
It's a good test, I think, for it.
And maybe the ones you don't like.
Some
of them are unforgettable, or forgettable.
There was a couple seasons ago. There was one.
I think it was season 4 or 5. We talked about one, and both of us were like, "I don't even remember this episode."
I forget what it was, but you described the synopsis. Like, I do not remember that episode at all. Did I even watch it?
Yeah,
that's a bad sign.
But of course you did because we're going through
I
all
have,
of them,
but that's bad.
So weird. All right, so the first one is a Hungry Heart that we're going to talk about.
Okay.
This is a Kenny episode.
Kenny.
Where his marriage is maybe on the rocks a little bit, so he considers cheating with this woman. He decides he can't do it. Frasier, go to the restaurant, tell this woman Kenny's wife is there instead because she already found out, told the woman to beat it, and was going to yell at Kenny when he got there, but it was Frasier instead, so she pretends to be the other woman.
Because she likes getting complimented. And stuff.
Right, and so inadvertently Frasier ends up dating Kenny's wife.
That's a great farce.
Good farce episode. Very
also
funny.
Don't know the actress, but I like that guest star.
She's
cool.
Was in
she's
in the Jay Moore show Action that lasted a season about like the goings on in Hollywood. She's also in the Kevin Bacon movie. I think it was Stir of Echoes.
She was the one friend. It's the only thing I know her from.
I believe her name is Ileana Douglas.
She's cool.
And she's very funny.
She's like, I don't know, like there are actually ghosts there, Kevin Bacon. Like, what are you talking about?
She likes the compliments. From Frasier.
But not him.
But not Frasier himself.
Which, of course, she has to clarify.
She has to keep telling him.
So you of course,
at the end.
Well, just because you were nice.
This episode is funny, and it's a good farce, but they both kind of look like jerks. Because Frasier, even once he finds out it's the wife, like, he sort of tries to get out of it, but then he's like, well, we're getting along so well, and then Kenny comes off as a real scumbag in this episode.
No.
You don't think?
No, because he
decides not to do it?
He decides not to do it. He clearly feels bad about it.
He does feel bad.
Like, he wouldn't have gone to Frasier for help if he wasn't.
I guess that's true.
Think about it.
Right.
He doesn't know how... Remember, I know it's a weak excuse, but clearly this is a guy who doesn't get hit on by a lot of attractive women, and he had a moment of weakness and he didn't know how to get out of it. You know,
I guess that's true.
And maybe that's not. I know
his ego was stroked by her. I guess,
and I know that this is not like an excusable thing necessarily, but I think it happens.
All right.
And I think Kenny's a nice guy. I don't think he wanted to ruin his life, his family life.
You're right. I guess he came to Frasier first.
I don't think he comes off like a scumbag. I think he's just he literally doesn't know how to get out of the situation because he doesn't want to hurt this woman's feelings.
Okay.
And he doesn't want his wife to find out. So it's a weird position to be in.
I guess that's true.
Not that I'm speaking from any experience.
Yeah, what experiences do you have?
I'm just saying, portraying the character in this episode. I felt like he wasn't a scumbag.
Okay,
that's all I'm trying to say.
Maybe
you
I'm
like
being
Kenny.
too.
You can't.
I normally like Kenny. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being too harsh, but here's
okay.
Here's why this episode does not get a good grade from me, though.
Okay, not that. Okay.
This is the I didn't love that. But this is the start of the really, really Daphne is fat arc.
Oh, yeah.
This is the first... So, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So let me tell you one of the hot jokes in this episode.
Now I forget. Now I remember.
She falls down. This is where finally... This is why it's called Hungry Heart. Because you think it's maybe because of the affair. But no, it's because Niles can't even see that Daphne's fat.
All right. Yeah.
So in the real world, Jane Leaves, who played Daphne, was pregnant.
Yeah,
and we talked about this briefly at the end of season 7.
Because they
just hinted it at the very finale.
She putting on some weight.
So yes, it happens in a lot of sitcoms. So instead of doing the classic box in front of the I'm carrying a box, visual gags, they did it with Claire Huxtable, they did it with Elaine Bennis. They did it with many, many people, all through the years. This one they decided something different. They said, let's try something else.
Okay.
You know, in Cheers, they just wrote it in. Rhea Perlman kept getting pregnant. Carla kept having babies.
Sure.
Phoebe on Friends, they just wrote it into the script. She's pregnant now with triplets. Okay. So here they decided, let's not do any of that. Let's do something different. Let's make her real fat because they just got married and she just got engaged or whatever. They're not married, I guess, but
she's not like
she's with Niles. You know, so let's give her a psychological disorder that maybe I'm eating so much because I'm guilty that I broke up my marriage with Donnie, or I'm guilty that psychology based show. Let's make it a psychological thing. She's eating so much.
Sure, yeah.
So this is the first episode of that, and it's a hefty part of no pun intended, part of the story.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a kind of a double A story. Like this is given about as much. Script as the Kenny stuff.
I did bring this up before.
So, I remember the Kenny stuff is okay, some of it's funny, whatever.
Okay.
But this is the real crux of the episode that I don't care for.
Okay, why is that?
Because the Daphne stuff, I mean.
Okay.
So, should we talk about this as a whole, or should we wait till the episode where she goes to the fat farm, as they call it? Let's wait.
Yeah.
Okay. So this episode gets a C from me.
Oh, well, you really didn't like that.
Well, because I didn't love the Kenny stuff, and I didn't.
Yeah, I will.
So
I'll get there.
We'll talk about it.
I didn't think it killed the episode, but yeah, I don't like those.
So for the next few episodes, Daphne's not in it because she's away at the fat farm.
Yeah.
So we don't see her again until she comes back, and she's very thin.
Yeah.
But
she lost a lot of weight after her pregnancy.
After the baby. God bless her.
So wow, good for her. I guess hard work.
But all right, so Hoop and Cranes is next, and this is the Seattle Supersonics episode where they get the tickets. They bring Marty, and I guess Frasier gets him from work or something. And
Niles is there.
He was gonna so they were just gonna give them to Martin.
Oh, but he couldn't get out
because they had to go to the opera.
Yeah.
But Martin was so excited that, oh my God, son, you've been saying for so long you want to see a game with
tickets for me.
So of course they did the right thing and they go to the game. Niles ends up making a really hard shot.
Oh, you know what?
At the halftime.
I do really like this episode. This is the one where Niles makes the shot and then his dad's really proud of him.
It becomes this whole
he keeps playing it up.
Famous thing. He gets on Sports Center because they do the replays. Because, it's a hard shot to make. He makes it as a granny throw.
Oh, also...
because he's Niles.
Side note, I really love it because I know that sitcoms don't usually get to play around with this, but I noticed Frasier's done it where sometimes you'll have an episode where they'll play around with some interesting cinematography and editing. And this is one where I'm like, I forgot about this one, Dan. I was like, I didn't remember the details. I was like, wait a minute. This has got to be a dream sequence because it's shot so...
That's what I thought at first, too, that it was a dream sequence.
So when it makes it, I'm like, I thought that transition was really cool.
Yeah.
That was really...
It was.
It was cinematic for a moment.
Yep.
It was good.
But then, of course, Frasier gets jealous.
Of course.
So, this is a big
ego
Crane Brothers fight episode of the season. There's a couple, as always. You love the... all of that
Nothing will ever be as good as when they write the book together, though.
No, that is the all-time classic.
You stole my mommy!
That is the classic for sure. So I did like this one. I gave it a B+.
It's a good one.
But guess why else I like it? The B story is with Roz and the Frenchman. And she can't understand him. At the scene at the end where really Frasier has to break up with him on her behalf, the conversation they have is so funny. Because, of course, he speaks French, and Roz has no idea what they're saying. Mm-hmm. But Frasier's like, just pretend like you're upset, because he was about to break up with her anyway. So I thought that was very funny,
That was a good gag. Yeah.
It was a good gag. So, so I gave that one a B+. I enjoyed it. So up next was docudrama. And this is a Roz-heavy episode, too. I guess with Daphne gone, now we're getting a couple of Roz episodes here.
And talk about guest stars.
The guest star of this one... Oh, my God! The classic Neil Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin, right? Buzz Aldrin. Roz wants to do a documentary on the radio station about the space race, and I guess this maybe was the 50th anniversary or something, or Maybe it was, right?
It's 1969.
Is that why?
It's probably
Was this in 99?
No, it's just like 2000 or 2001. So
Would
have been around the time.
It would have been around that.
One of the Apollos.
March 2001. Well, whatever. Point is, she wants to do a space documentary. So Frasier wants to be the narrator.
Sure.
So she lets him, but then of course Frasier's it and takes over everything.
And she's the director.
And so it starts a big fight with the two of them, where some very harsh things were said, and he tries to then undermine her again by going directly to Buzz Aldrin and saying, "Oh, how about some of these ideas?" But also, she wasn't taking any of his ideas seriously at the meeting
because she was being too.
She was being too proud.
Too proud, and she was overcompensating for didn't want to show favoritism.
Yeah.
She just has to maintain control, which once again, this is a big project for women in the workplace. And, she wants to kind of.
Yeah, it was a big deal that they gave it to her.
They did, So, and for her, that's what she said. She never directed anything.
Yeah, she never. She only produced.
So this was going to be her show, her project. So I can understand that.
So I don't know. I liked this one. I gave it a B. It wasn't that funny, but.
Well, wait. What about the gag with Buzz Aldrin talking about all the?
Well, that part was great. That was the cherry on top at the end. Much like Frasier and the Frenchman, the episode before, like the last 2-3 minutes of this episode.
It's like what you see, when we actually did talk to them, and it's like of course it's all off air and they lose it all.
And so she's in the control room fighting with him and making up. So. They don't hear any of this, and then at the end he's like,
"Just remember,
you guys have to delete that. Like, can you take that out of the document?" She's like, "Sure, no problem."
Click, and he's revealed all these major secrets. That was great.
That was pretty great. All right, so It Takes Two to Tangle is next. That is the high school. Oh, you know what? I stand corrected. It wasn't the Kenny episode where everybody was being jerks. This is the episode where everybody.
I didn't think they were
jerks.
that bad with Kenny.
No, you're right. This is where, and Martin's not bad in this. This is where Frasier and Niles go to great lengths to get this rich woman to try and save their old high school with a donation. Martin meets her at one of Frasier's parties. He falls for her, and it's very genuine for him. He obviously doesn't want her money. He has nothing to do with that. But
they want to use that.
The boys become these just leeches, and it's not a good sight. I thought it was the Kenny episode. I thought that's why I was grading the Kenny episode so horribly. But it was the Daphne stuff mainly. These boys are real jerks in this episode, don't you think?
It's pretty questionable.
And even at the end, after they're caught in all the lies, because Martin's trying to juggle two women in this episode.
Asking for money.
She finds out about it.
Kind of?
No, I think it's disgraceful. I think they're being jerks. The funny part is John Michael Higgins as her son, who keeps trying to push people away and
because he's in the right.
Right. And Niles is like, he's really
Look
mad.
over there.
Yeah, about Niles trying to hit her up for money. So Niles is like, I thought I heard one of the maitre d's talking about a play they wanted your mom to finance.
Which one's that?
Wait. He goes, that part was funny.
Yeah, there were funny moments.
But it's one of those episodes where Martin is just so disappointed in them. I think a lot of times they forget sort of their moral compass, and it's sort of funny when it's at their own expense or at Roz's expense, but I don't know, there's nothing redeemable about them in this episode.
Well, alright, I don't think,
right?
I understand where you're coming from. I don't think I hated it as much as you, because I thought that what they were doing was for a good cause.
Yeah, it was, but what, did they not have money themselves? You know what I mean?
This has always been kind of...
we'll throw a dinner party and we'll get some donors. You guys have money.
It's a vague thing with Frasier, because he has that apartment.
Right.
He's successful.
Goes to the opera every friggin' night.
Yeah. It's a little weak that they really are desperately needing this.
Right.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. It is funny that they wreck things at the end and they just give back the $50 or whatever they do.
Well, right. I love that she only gives them $50.
Maybe that's kind of one reason why.
That's their comeuppance, I guess.
I'm sort of okay with it when you think that they are acting a little morally questionable, but it's always kind of capped off at the end with something like that.
Well, that's true. So I guess they get theirs at the end. You're right.
They don't usually leave it like they get away with it.
I guess that's true. Yes, you're right. Their jerky behavior does usually have real consequences. I gave it a C+ though. Still, I
Okay.
didn't like it. Well, and even Martin is trying to juggle 2 women. Like all the Crane men are just not in their best light here.
No,
I don't think
you're right.
All right, so Forgotten but Not Gone is the next one. Oh my gosh, this is the real good Frasier and Niles fight episode of the season.
Remind me.
The Wine Club.
Oh.
Frasier has to resign because
he's
doing a new wine show on KACL.
Oh my goodness.
And then nobody calls in because they don't want to mix business with pleasure or whatever.
High culture? Who's listening?
Who's listening?
No, really, Doc. Who's listening? Not me.
Kenny's funny in this episode.
Yeah, he was good.
So yeah, this is the big Niles Frasier fight episode. Martin comes down to the wine club, berates them in front of everybody.
Let your brother play.
But Dad, let your brother play. But Dad, and then they have to resign from the wine club because it's now the teasing club or whatever they call it.
Mm-hmm.
So then at the end they
have to start their own wine club.
Form their own wine club. Classic Crane fighting episode.
The wine club is pretty great.
Anything with the wine club is always pretty good. So I gave that one a B. Next up, Daphne Returns.
Oh, she returns.
All right. So I guess we could talk maybe about the whole thing here. But
sure.
This is when she returns from the weight loss spa, but Niles keeps trying to agitate her because he is a little bit incensed about her taking such serious advice from the woman psychiatrist
the
therapist at the spa. And then
what does she know?
She turns, and asks Frasier for advice or whatever. Niles is like, oh, everybody but me. And here again, he's a real dick in this episode.
He's kind of a dick.
He is not polite to her at all.
Dan, this is the thing.
Let's talk about it. I know Niles is going through some changes this season. I can't deny that.
I noticed that maybe it's just, I don't know if it's more of like with these characters, the sitcom situation, you want to see people be more likable all the time.
Yes.
But they show plenty of times on Frasier they're human.
Yeah.
They make mistakes. Niles was a dick to most people before he met Daphne. And Daphne was, remember, the exception, not the rule in the beginning.
I guess that's true.
But he's a dick to her this time.
He wasn't, though. He was snide to other people. But he wasn't, I mean, he would fire off comebacks. Like him and Roz would sort of, but they would sort of bar back and forth, and then she would say something to him that was disparaging.
Well, this time it's more of a personal attack on him, so of course he's going to be.
I guess he feels that it's an attack on him.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting.
It was interesting, but he came across as rather loathsome.
Ooh.
And for her to be gone that long, and he's not
concerned or
like, oh my God, I'm so happy to see you. Like he's happy to see her, and I admit, look, she maybe is hitting the drum a little hard about this therapist at the spa, but look, it obviously got results. They sent her away to the fat farm to lose all this weight, and she comes back, lost all the weight.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think as a psychiatrist, I think Niles should kind of know better than to, I don't know, because Martin sometimes will call their, the head shrinkers or whatever, and he doesn't like that.
No.
Have we gotten to the episode yet where they bring the psychic in?
Yeah, the dog.
Did we talk about that was that last season?
That was a good one.
Okay. All right. I couldn't remember if that was after she came back from the spa or not. But, so anyway, this is a C+ episode all around. But let's talk about the whole fat bit. Because they don't do it anymore. Once she comes back from the spa, that's it. It's never talked about again. So this is the time to talk about it.
Well, I'm curious what your issue is with it, like more specifically.
Okay.
Because I feel like, is it just because the jokes are really cheap and easy for Frasier?
Yes. That's part of it. Here's the deal. I don't really like anything that's that mean-spirited as this is.
Yeah.
Without sort of what do I want to say here? Somebody that can actually be there and say, okay, well, this is cool to joke about. Like, for example, Will and Grace, they tell gay jokes all the time on Will and Grace.
Oh, okay.
but it's fine because guess what? They're both gay.
Okay.
You know, and Jack's gay in real life, and you know, Will is not, but you know, the writers are, and the creators are, and everything. You know, talking about fat jokes, there's a great 70s sitcom, one of my all-time favorites, called What's Happening.
Okay.
And two of the cast members were large. Rerun was one of them, and Shirley was the other one. And they would go back and forth with each other with the fat jokes, like, you know, Roz would with Niles about
promiscuity.
You're a whore. You're a priss. You know,
you're a
whatever.
Snob, yeah.
Yeah. So that, you know, there was that back and forth. And there was even an episode of What's Happening where Rerun was like, you know, I don't like being this weight, but this is, you know, it's hard for me to lose weight, and and you know, and it was a comedy show, so it wasn't like a fully serious episode, but you know, and I laugh, you know, at those fat jokes. I can laugh at any type of joke if it's told from a place of like caring, I feel like.
Well-meaning.
And this was just like, she was pregnant, not heavy, so like
she
to
wasn't
make all
really
these
that big.
Fat jokes was, I think, very insensitive.
I definitely think it was quite a bit insensitive. It was cheap, and I do agree. You almost want to have someone there to represent it, to say, okay, well, own it a little bit, so that it's okay when.
I felt the same way about Fat Monica on Friends, when they would do like the I found a VHS tape from high school, and they pop it in, and it would be, you know, Courtney Cox in the fat suit, dancing around or whatever, making her the butt of the joke, and it was like, I don't know, you know, and what were they trying to juxtapose it now because she's a chef in the present day, and she, I don't know, but
there's definitely
people seem to love like, oh, Fat Monica, and I never found that funny either.
I don't know. Well, I mean, when it comes to like, you know, body image stuff, you know, it's a very sensitive thing, and you think like, for instance, I guess something like Friends, where it's all like, you know, the ideal. You know,
they're all like,
it's
like
20-something,
Aniston,
all
like,
freaking white, you know, skinny
and,
people, like very narrow view of like a way to be happy.
Right.
So, you know,
and so is Frasier.
Like,
there's not a black person in all of
except
Frasier.
for Dr. Mary, which they
that's right. Right.
So
that's true.
So like, if you want to look at a specific idea,
right.
So it's like,
I think that's my main issue with it.
Well, I think the other
thing. How about
thing
for you?
Well, for me, I think you kind of pointed out something. It didn't really make sense. Like the episode where, I guess it's before she goes off to the weight loss clinic, and they can't pick her up, and it takes all of them to do it. And I'm like,
yes.
Like,
and then they even make a joke about that because their last name's Crane. Oh, look, it took 3 cranes to lift you, Daphne.
And I was like, oh, that's just mean.
I mean, are we in vaudeville in the 20s? Like what?
Well, it was also just that, like, I guess they could say, all right, they were trying to play up maybe that Niles was really weak and that Martin was old. But the thing was, I'm just like, she's not really that big. And, and like, I don't know, she clearly wasn't trying that. It was just a weak visual gag, too.
Okay, for example, look, you know, I don't mind laughing about anything. The other night, the Comedy Central had put up a bunch of clips from the latest roast that they had with Rob Lowe.
Sure,
and
classic.
I mean, roast, I love Rob Lowe, so it was great. You know, roasts are designed to be
all shots
legal, da-da-da-da-da.
I like a good roast.
And I love a good roast. They joke about everything, you know.
But that's the thing.
Gay.
Everybody's on the table.
Fat, black.
It's all...
Everybody.
Everybody can make fun of it, or you can't make fun of anything.
And that's the thing. You come to the roast because you're going to make fun of everybody, but then you sit down and everybody's going to make fun of you, too.
And everybody knows themselves anyway.
Right.
So, like, you should kind of, you know, appreciate the joke.
Yeah. And I sort of understand what they were trying to do a little bit with, oh, Niles loves her so much he can't even see how much
I will admit, I did like that.
That was an okay twist to it.
That was a nice idea. Like, it doesn't really matter if you care about the person. But I wish they had almost stayed with that more, because they drop it so quickly. And say, no, she does have a problem.
And they sent her away.
I'm like, but in all honesty, like, she was a little bigger, but she wasn't really like that big. So like, wasn't that big a problem? I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, look, she's a very, very not thin, but
she's a pretty skinny.
She's a solid person. You know, she's got muscle tone. You know, she's a toned person.
So like, I wasn't like
so her being pregnant did make her look rather large.
Yeah.
But look, I've said this on my own channel in different videos. I mean, I prefer bigger guys. So like, to me, I don't know. A fat joke is like, it can be funny, but
well,
it has to be.
All right.
I don't know.
I have. There's another. This is actually kind of leading to another question, though. What I want to ask you, and since it is about comedy, I think it's related. Well, it's a two-parter question, Ann.
Okay.
Well, we're saying that there is you can basically make fun of just about anything, but it sounds like there's something about framing which really works.
Yeah, I think it is how you frame it.
So how you frame it. So do you think that literally anything can be a joke? Because I know that
I have laughed at some very, very dark jokes.
Because wasn't Chappelle recently? Some people thought he went too far, which surprised me. Because he's Chappelle.
Well, yeah, I go back and forth on that. Because yes, you're right, and I reviewed that actually on my channel. And my problem with that was a lot of it wasn't really jokes. It was more just like, it was more like just banter about a topic.
Like, oh man,
which I guess is what Chappelle's kind of known for anyway. So that makes sense. But there weren't a lot of
delivery, not a lot.
But no, there were. I mean, I laughed at R. Kelly jokes in that special. I laughed at Michael Jackson jokes in that special, which you can imagine the targets he went after there.
Yeah.
I laughed at those. There were definitely some topics in his special I laughed at.
Okay.
I've laughed at jokes about 9/11.
Ooh.
I mean, Pete Davidson, who's on Saturday Night Live now, he was at the Bieber roast, and his dad actually died in 9/11. And he made a joke about it, and it was funny.
Wow.
But guess what? He made the joke, and it was his dad that died in 9/11.
Wow.
So
that's something.
There's framing for you.
Yeah.
If Justin Bieber had gotten up there and been like, your dad died in 9/11, Pete Davidson, even if there was a punchline, I don't think that would have been funny.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
So there's something about representation there for you.
Exactly. Like, for example, Caitlyn Jenner was one of the people at I think it was the Alec Baldwin roast. So they were making a lot of trans jokes. And as a gay person, I can take or leave a trans joke. Sometimes they're okay, but there were some funny ones.
Okay.
And, Caitlyn Jenner was hooping it up and even said, to some people, like, oh, that was a good one, whatever. I think, yes, framing has a lot to do with it. What was part 2, though?
Oh, that was part 2.
That was part 2 as well, okay.
Is anything legal, pretty much?
Oh, is there anything off limits? Okay.
It could be.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I love a good gay joke. If it's good, right? Like, I don't know.
I mean, I think, yeah.
I think we can't take ourselves too seriously as a society, as a people, as the human race, we can't take ourselves that seriously. But I just think, and I can appreciate that they were trying to do something different with the whole, our actress is pregnant, what should we do with that?
Yeah.
I can appreciate that they were, but I don't think this was it.
What do you think they should have done? Do you think they should have gone for a box visual thing, or?
I mean, they certainly couldn't have had her be pregnant immediately after getting together with Niles, because as we learn later in the season, they still hadn't even had sex yet.
No.
So so I'm glad they didn't do that, but I don't know. They could have. It was tough for them, I'm sure, because they couldn't send her away right after her and Niles got together.
Unless she ran away.
The whole first half of the episode had to be about her being there. I don't know. I mean, they could have just done the classic, fridge, in front of the fridge door all the time, or bringing in this box from the store, so I'm hiding my big pregnant belly. I don't know. It's been done in sitcoms for 60 years. Why not Frasier?
Maybe they thought they were above it or something.
Maybe they did, but this to me was not the way.
Oh.
So.
Random other.
Yeah.
I just thought of. We actually watched Anastasia recently.
Okay.
Which is my girlfriend.
The cartoon?
One of her favorite movies.
Okay.
And, fun fact, this is related,
Never
I promise. Well, you should.
Okay.
It's a very good movie, one of the great Don Bluths, and
classic.
Great animation and everything. Do you know there is a certain actor who does voice work in that movie? Can you guess who it is?
David Hyde Pierce.
Very close. Kelsey Grammer.
Oh, okay.
Of course, voice
classic.
actor.
Yeah, good voice actor.
He plays one of the main supporting characters in that movie, and he even sang and wrote one of the songs in the movie. And we watched a little featurette about it, and there was actually someone
great singer
talking about the voice acting and the singing, and he was there, and his was put in like '97, so
perfect.
His classic Hawaiian T-shirt and khaki shorts.
Of course.
Wow, straight Frasier. He was talking about composing the song, and it was good.
I did not know that.
So check it out for
great voice though.
Great singer, great voice talent. Kelsey Grammer is...
Well, because he sang as Sideshow Bob.
Mm-hmm.
He sang as Frasier on Cheers when they got the karaoke machine. That was a great episode.
And of course, the Frasier opening.
The Frasier opening, we all know that. Yeah, you're right. All right, so we didn't like that episode.
Nah, not really.
All right, so there's 4 more, but 2 of them are doubles. 2 of them are hour-long specials.
Well, then we'll just...
All right, so The Wizard and Roz is next. This is where Tewksbury returns Odo, and he's dating Roz, and Frasier comes over and sees him wearing her like nightie to go to bed.
Down, yeah.
And can't stop him from mentally picturing it while they're talking.
Which makes him uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. So then, they have to get into that, obviously. Oh, and here it is. This is the one where Niles and Daphne get the psychic person to come over and test her psychic.
Oh, her psychic stuff.
Yeah.
I got that confused with the dog doctor.
Oh, that's what you meant. Okay. No, I was thinking, because I was thinking it was right after he was being a jerk to her that he also didn't believe in her psychic ability. No. So they got the.
Though this is a good one.
This was a famous actor too.
I recognize him.
The guest star here. Let me see.
The psychic investigator guy.
Yeah.
He probably is.
Doesn't say on Wikipedia. Let me see if there's like a guest star list for the season or something.
There probably is.
Cast, yeah. Special guest, here you go. Anthony LaPaglia.
Renee Hadjar-Jono. Derek Jacobi was the Shakespearean guy.
Oh, right, okay.
He was a good one.
Oh, Fisher Stevens. Yeah, he's been in a bunch of stuff.
Could he show his picture?
Yeah.
No, I don't have
Short Circuit's like the main one, but he was in that. He was in... Oh, that show, Early Edition, yeah. Oh, Hackers. You ever see that?
Oh, Hackers.
Yeah, it's a classic. Hackers. Super Mario Brothers movie. You might know him from that.
I did actually see that recently.
Sadly. Did you really?
I actually didn't hate it as much as everybody.
I've never actually seen it, so I don't know.
Well, I thought it was decent, actually, for what it was. Yeah.
I'll take your word.
It was fine.
And it was John Glenn was the astronaut.
John Glenn, not Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah, I didn't think it was Buzz Aldrin, but I couldn't think of who it was.
So it wasn't Neil Armstrong.
Yeah, John Glenn. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's who it is, I guess. Or no, maybe that was different. I don't know. Well, whatever. He was in this season. I don't know if that was him or not, but
whoever it was,
that's the guy. But anyway, this was a good episode.
It was.
I liked it.
Another good one to kind of have Niles and Daphne have a really good fight about.
This one I gave a B. I think Niles is being a little bit.
Hey,
a bit rude, but
this comes from the guy that hates Daphne.
I don't like the psychic thing. That's what I mean.
But that's
he's a bit rude. But
I don't like it though.
It just came and went was the problem.
But they brought it back though in a big way.
It was annoying. Why bring it back at all? All right. So next is Semi-Decent Proposal, and this is when we finally see Lana again from last season, his old high school crush. Really, Niles' high school crush more so, I guess.
Yeah.
But Frasier kind of liked her too. And this is played by Jane Smart. Frasier meets her friend, and he falls for her a little bit more.
She's a big person.
Oh, yeah, that's Patricia Clarkson. She was in 6 Feet Under. What else? We've seen her in so many things.
I'm pretty sure she was in
House of Cards.
The Maze Runner.
Oh, yes!
Did the ending?
She was in the Maze. The ending of the first Maze Runner. God. Yep, what a classic. 6 Feet Under is where I first really knew her other than this. Easy A, Shutter Island. She's done a lot of things.
Okay, yeah, I've seen her around.
But anyway, so she plays the best friend, and so she's actually in it till the end of the season.
The perfect woman for Frasier.
Perfect woman for Frasier. She has everything.
So cultured.
But the friend doesn't want her to date Frasier because she's trying to finagle Frasier to tutor her son, Kirby, who is a real dum-dum. And so, and then Roz wants something out of Frasier. So it's all this I'll do for, y'all scratch your back, you scratch mine kind of thing. I thought this was a good episode.
I liked it. I liked...
I liked the introduction of the character for sure.
I liked Roz and Kirby, their interaction.
I love, Roz and Kirby.
The prom.
Right, Kirby wants to take Roz to the prom to show up with a hot babe on his arm, hot older woman. Sure. She wants the day off to go to wait in line for Bruce Springsteen tickets.
Oh yeah, Bruce Springsteen.
So Frasier finagles all this because Kirby's like, okay, I'll seriously study if you can get me a date with Roz. So he does that, and so then he says to Lana, okay, put in the good word with your friend, Classic, kind of setup. But I liked it. B+ on that one. A Day in May is next. And this was a really, really interesting one. This is when there's 3 different tales of each of the guys. So Niles is at the park with Daphne with the guy.
The dog.
In the dog park. The guy that she thinks is real hot.
Was he a guest star too? I've seen before.
I
feel like he looked familiar.
He might have been familiar, yeah. And then Martin, we find out, is at this like mysterious luncheon with this woman who turns out to be the mother of the man who shot him. That was a like.
That was, you want to talk about
heavy reveal.
Like I was like, why? Like
the whole episode we didn't know.
I was like, wait,
what they were doing.
Does somebody have cancer? Does he?
Right.
What, does he have like? What's he hiding? I'm like, oh.
Yeah, so that was pretty deep.
And build up to his hero.
And then the Frasier part of it was he was with Lana at this house that they were trying to that was going to be up for sale for, I forget the reason they needed to be there for Lana to sell it or something. I guess she's a realtor, right?
She's a realtor.
So and the guy's wife had just died, and so he still didn't want to leave the house, but it's like a good seller's market, so she's trying to unload it. So they end up, making this popsicle house because they broke it.
They glue it to the table.
Yes, they glue it to the table. Frasier is mistaken for like being special needs by the couple that comes over. Yeah. So it was kind of funny, but boy, that part with Martin was like, oh my god, like that I think was probably the heaviest Frasier ever got.
I was about to say like
Frasier's
gotten pretty heavy with some of his own therapy and stuff, but like in terms of like. Yeah, that was like straight,
serious.
No laughs, no chuckles. That was just, because he shot him and almost killed him and basically radically changed his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that flashback and that's right. The build up to like what the day was like beforehand and his relationship with Niles and Frasier and.
I could have seen a whole episode, by the way, just about that.
That was really interesting.
Yeah.
That was seeing his life before that and how. Yeah.
Yeah. I left this one with an A- primarily for that storyline.
That was pretty good.
The other parts were fine; they were amusing, but
if it hadn't been for that,
that was the real heavy hitter for me of the episode.
Probably the heaviest Frasier ever got.
I would think so. Yeah,
it's pretty heavy.
So finally, was the 2-part episode, "The Cranes Go Caribbean."
It's a good one.
And this is when him and Claire, now Patricia Clarkson's character, are finally like set up. They're good to go, but. Daphne sort of talks her out of going on this trip because she's like, oh, don't you think you're moving too fast? But then she says to Niles, like, oh, I don't think we're moving fast enough, like da-da-da-da-da. So, and then Martin just wants to go.
So they all end up going.
So he goes with Duke, who we never see, by the way. Duke is another character, which I didn't realize until this episode.
We never see him.
We never see Duke.
We've been to Duke's, though.
We've been to Duke's Tavern.
But we never saw
Duke's. We've never seen Duke's.
Interesting.
Duke,
one of the great unseen characters.
Yeah, there's several in the Cheers Frasier universe.
Interesting, but it's kind of cool how you can have a character that's unseen but has so much personality.
Yeah,
because when you think like
Duke seems to me to be a much more dimensional character than Bulldog.
Yeah,
don't you think?
Actually,
even though we've never seen him,
because we hear a lot of stories about him and Martin adventures and like, oh, this one time with Duke.
They have good adventures.
They do.
Yeah.
It's usually just like fishing or beer, but it's pretty much Martin, I guess.
Yeah.
I actually like about Martin. He's very simple for the most part.
He really is. That's why I like at the end where the waiter says, "Oh, we're all out of the things," and then at the end,
here
Martin goes, "You had steak here this whole time.
You had steak here the whole time."
So they go to the Caribbean, and it is a disaster.
But not really.
But everybody
finds a way to.
Once they get there. Right, tries to make the best of it, except for Frasier.
And he's like, Frasier, do you not know how to be happy?
And it makes Claire real mad.
She gets very upset about it.
Very upset. Yeah, I mean, all of the season enders of Frasier, for the most part, not the Niles Daphne Runaway Bride one, but are like kind of introspective Frasier episodes, The
last season would have been cliffhanger.
Yeah, last season instead they chose with a cliffhanger, but here, it's kind of introspective in the sense of like, why can't you just relax? Why can't you have fun? So he calls Lilith, which, by the way, Lilith's only appearance this whole season. So I looked it up. So Lilith is actually completely absent for 2 entire seasons.
What?
She appears in 10 episodes in the 11 seasons, but in the 11th season she appears twice.
Oh.
So there have been 2 seasons, and I think we've tackled both of them already. But we just didn't think to talk about it because she wasn't in it.
Well,
or maybe one of them's still coming up, I don't know. And BB wasn't in this season either because she's nobody's agent anymore, I think.
Though next season there's a pretty good episode with her.
Is there a good BB?
Yeah, there's a good BB. Well, yes and no, but we'll get to that.
Okay. Yeah, you're about halfway through the next season.
Well, yeah, I just...
God bless you.
Yeah, I like it.
But I thought this was a good season finale. I didn't think it was great because I thought we had seen the whole Frasier can't have fun thing before. We'd seen the whole Frasier ruins a good time thing before.
True.
So I gave this one a B. I thought it was an okay season finale.
Pretty
Certainly
good.
a far cry from the intensity of the Runaway Bride episode.
Oh yeah.
But all right, so let's talk briefly about the season as a whole. I think we've hit on a couple of the main topics already.
Sounds to me like it's one of the weaker ones.
This is the worst season for me.
Oh.
If it wasn't for a few of those select great episodes in the first half of the season,
It would be a real dud.
it would be a real dud. And when you think about it, none of those episodes really have to do with the Niles and Daphne stuff. Except for, I did like the rooftop dinner they had in the meteor shower. I liked that. And I do like the episode where they're caught on either side of the door and he comes up with her nickname because he was trying so hard to come up with a good name. So
that was a good one.
That part was good, and the part with the dinner was good.
Well,
but other than that, I mean, all the best stuff, when you think about it, it's like Frasier talking to Tewksbury. The bad acting from the Shakespearean guy.
But there's so many of my favorites are in this season, though. Like, there's some really good episodes.
Yeah.
But you're right.
That last half is rough, though.
Yeah.
Really, until Claire shows up at the end and Daphne returns from the weight loss center and they don't talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
and then they're kind of jerky throughout that with, like, trying to get money from the woman.
Yeah, you're right. Not the best one for them, and, I guess right for developing those characters. You know, I think I know what part of the problem might have been, too.
Tell me.
Well, I think you had her kind of having to go off the show anyway, which put them in a bind.
Right.
I think it's possible. The writers really spent the last couple seasons mostly building up on the Niles, Daphne,
Maybe they had a big plan.
Either they had a big plan.
You're saying she screwed it up by getting pregnant.
I think she screwed up. Not her.
Congratulations.
No, I know. But yes,
I'm trying to make you look like a jerk.
She did screw. Well, she did screw up their potential plan.
Right.
And also, I think
right.
The writers are very good. They stuck with the Will They Won't They because they liked it, kept the ratings up, and having the two of them together presented a new challenge.
Yes.
Maybe they weren't sure how many laughs that would create. So you'll notice maybe they focused more on Frasier and his stuff because we're not really sure. Plus, you got to be off the show anyway, so...
Which is fine, because I think some of the Frasier stuff is some of the best stuff we've seen from him.
That's what I'm saying.
Like the episode with him and Freddie at the cabin.
Yeah.
And then the Tewksbury. I mean, there's like a 1, 2, 3, or maybe 3 out of 4 that are just like...
Really good,
really hard hitting.
ones.
But I'm going to look this up, because I think this was also the season, though, that the creators left. Because I know season 11, their last season, it was touted that, like, oh, they're back, like, and that's, I think, why season 11 is one of the better ones. But, let me look up at this, because I think that was part of the problem.
That wouldn't surprise me.
It was either season 8 or season 9 where they left,
so
or he left.
You're thinking the next couple of seasons might dip before it gets good again.
Yes, I do think that. In my memory, 8, 9, and 10 are the worst, and then 11 picks it up again to like a season 5 or 6 kind of place.
Nice.
I would give this episode on the whole a B.
Okay.
And I think it would be worse if it wasn't for those 3 episodes specifically that are really great.
Well, you'll have to compile this when we're finishing.
I mean, the Gary Cole episode is good too, where
well,
he's the,
Gary Cole,
that's a good one.
Gary Cole was good, and the one with Tudyk when he steals.
Yeah, that's okay.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was all right.
It was a good one.
Yes. Okay, so this is the last season that David Angel and Christopher Lloyd, not the actor.
Yeah,
not
that always confuses me.
Although David Angel, I think, not to do a callback to something we horribly joked about earlier, but David Angel, I think, was killed in the 9/11 attacks.
Wait, what was the last episode that aired? Because I remember. Wait, what's the last?
The last episode that aired was the one with the
with the Caribbean.
The Caribbean, yeah.
So what era date was that?
That was May 22nd, 2001.
Okay,
so by the time the next episode started, I think he was dead. But because he wasn't even listed on the cast list, so he may have left with Christopher Lloyd and just happened to perish in the
I remember because I watched one of those episodes recently. We'll talk about it, but I'm surprised that they didn't tackle it at all, mention it at all. But at the end of an episode, they do say this is dedicated to like that man and his wife that died in 9/11.
Okay, but you're on season 9 already, so that's why it would have said that.
So which is interesting because, not to get off topic,
right?
Did sitcoms around at that time never acknowledge it? Like, because it's funny.
Well, okay, I'll tell you something about 9/11 and sitcoms. Friends actually had an episode because Monica and Chandler had just gotten married. Friends had an episode that ended up being scrapped, and I think they may have even shot it, or at least wrote it, where they're having a terrible time on their honeymoon because the airport is so crowded and they're having a lot of bad luck with the TSA and this and that and the other thing. And obviously, airport lines were going to be long after 9/11, so they decided to scrap it. And they did. They scrapped the whole plot line out. They did like a different thing at the airport where basically the couple in front of them in line everywhere was also on their honeymoon, so they were getting all the perks. So they took it in a funny direction. But yeah, so that I know was changed after 9/11.
I know that around 9/11, I mean that affected a lot of things, music, TV shows. I remember Dragon Ball Z, very violent show. Obviously, had like
they scaled back.
You couldn't show the buildings exploding in the city.
Yeah,
edit things out. But I remember West Wing did this whole episode in a completely.
But that's a political drama. I mean, I'm sure.
But they didn't directly acknowledge it either in the West Wing.
Okay.
They just made a whole episode like just focusing on some political
process. As if there was a.
No, it was very strange. It was just like they.
You gotta watch some West Wing.
You should, because they Rob Lowe. Instead they broke away from the main plot and they just kind of like went through like this logistical process showing like what like a day in the life was like in the White House from like this particular process. But it was specifically like we are doing this kind of as a way to break away from that because of what happened.
Okay, so break away from the main storyline a little bit.
It was like an experimental kind of episode.
Okay,
it was really interesting. So yeah.
So this was the last season with Christopher Lloyd and David Angel, who had both been with the series almost since the beginning.
Wow.
So Christopher Lloyd came back in season 11. Obviously, David Angel, had perished by then. But so that made and look at all the seasons 8 through 10. Season 8, Season 9 and 10, Season 10 and 11. So a lot of these people only worked on a season or two of Frasier because it just hadn't been up to the standards.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And Kelsey Grammer had taken a more progressive role as producer at that point. He was directing some of these episodes. He directed the Caribbean episode. So, whether he muddied the waters a little bit, I don't know, but
it's possible.
But it's possible. But anyway, I think we've talked enough about some Season 8.
Yeah.
We will come back with Season 9 at a later time here. I don't know how many weeks it will be till we see each other again because of the coronavirus.
At least two, because end of the month we're going to be
yes,
quarantined.
We're all going to be quarantined soon. So we're filming this a little early for you guys. But yes, thanks so much for watching. Please comment below. Maybe you love Season 8. Maybe this is your favorite season of Frasier.
Let us know.
Let us know. So thanks, Joe, for joining as always.
Sure.
And we'll see you back here next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.